unless you let it rule your life. Joining us now with more is Dr. Joseph Luciani, author of The Power of Self-Coaching. Welcome to your morning, Dr. Luciani.
Good morning. Thank you.
Why would anybody strive to be perfect? You know, you hear people say it all the time. I'm a perfectionist, and they say it with pride.
Well, how's my tie?
Yeah, you look great.
Well, people strive for perfection primarily because they're trying to avoid imperfection. You see, that's where we feel vulnerable. So insecurity is the motor. If we have a little bit of insecurity, we're going to try to organize our world in a certain way so we can feel insulated, protected, more secure.
When does the desire to be perfect turn into an obsession?
Well, think of it in terms of want-tos, have-tos. If I have to go out and rake leaves, that's more of a compulsive statement. If I want to go out and fix things up and rake some leaves, that's more leisurely. When we find that our life leans over to the have-to section, then we're pretty much talking perfectionistic striving. It's hitting the bullseye all the time and just shooting the arrow.
I saw somebody cutting their lawn once with a pair of scissors. Would that be maybe striving for a little bit too much of a perfect lawn, perhaps?
Well,
taking that to a different level?
Doesn't everyone use scissors?
The shears. Special cutting shears. Yeah, okay, that's when you know you've gone a little too far. How does that affect our lives and our relationships with our family members?
Well, what happens is we become rigid. We become more obsessional, more compulsive. You know, it's like in so many ways if we become like that extra pound or having to run that extra mile, it's a pressure, it wears us down. And in time, perfectionism will ruin and rule your life because it's really insecurity that's driving and we're not in the driver's seat when that happens.
Is this sometimes caused by people perhaps when you're growing up? Just making you or forcing you or trying to get you to be perfect?
Well, usually it begins with some perception of insecurity,
right,
and we look for control. When we're insecure, we try to find ways to be in control. So a child might start finding out very early in life that if I do it all right, teachers are going to applaud, parents are going to applaud, and then it becomes a treadmill. Because without the security, the only thing that makes me feel good is hitting bullseyes.
When should we accept defeat?
When should we accept defeat? Well, defeat is really a relative term. I think that for the perfectionist, defeat is synonymous with chaos. For someone with a bit of security, defeat is seen as a way of life. I mean, we cannot expect all the time to be successful. So we relativize our life and realize that defeat is really just one step away from the adventure of life and turning it into a success.
Now, do we have a full screen bring up? Because I just heard in my ear, bring up the full screen. There we go. Are you perfect? If you're too critical, more driven than relaxed, compulsive, always find fault, often feel tension or anxiety, these are signs that you think you might be just striving for perfection a little too much, right?
That's correct.
Okay, do we have a second full screen? There we go. Not flexible. You fuss when you're getting ready. You rarely get caught off guard. You're accused of being fanatical and rigid, and you tend to overdo everything. Gee. I think a lot of people could probably relate to some of that.
Overdoing and overthinking, and it's living your life in this rigid tunnel. A perfectionistic life is, as I say, one step away from chaos. It's euphoric when you hit the bullseyes,
right,
but when you miss the bullseye, your life is chaos. It is such a rigid way to live your life.
Don't live it that way.
Not at all.
You'll be loved regardless.
I'm retiring my scissors and no more lawn cutting with shears.
Dr. Joseph Luciani, the author of The Power of Self-Coaching. Thank you very much for coming in, and the book is available in bookstores now.